Let's talk about Manchester City, John. And I won't use the phrase one-trick pony about Pep Guardiola. He's won too much. But they've had a blip. They've lost a couple of games to clubs that really shouldn't be able to compete with them. Crystal Palace, they lost at home.
Yeah.
And Leicester, they lost away. 3-2 to Crystal Palace, 2-1 to Leicester. What's gone wrong with Pep, John?
Well, it's been a bad couple of weeks, and there's no doubt about that. I watched the match last week, and I don't think you watched all of the Everton match. You said they looked a bit tired.
I did,
I did. They won well in the end. I didn't, and it could well be that. I was just thinking about it since yesterday when we had a conversation. I think they had probably more players playing in the World Cup than anybody else.
Yeah.
I think so. I just made out a list this morning. Edison, Walker, Company, Delph, Brian, David Silva, Bernardo Silva, Fernandinho, Jesus, Stones, Aguero. And that could be. It could be. Well, normally, like going back to 1966 and my time with England, most of the players, including Jack Charlton, had the worst seasons afterwards than they ever had.
Yes.
It used to be I'd like to tell you a little story about Big Jack. Jack used to be terrible in five-a-sides, Eamon.
Yeah.
Hopeless in five-a-sides. And after the 66 World Cup, in five-a-sides and in the match, he was playing terrible.
Yeah.
Really bad. He had the worst season he ever had. But he got Footballer of the Year.
Yeah. Well,
with the journalist.
Yeah.
So it was a joke, and Jack was included, and he used to say to himself on the five-a-side, if somebody was having a bad time, if you keep playing like that, you get Footballer of the Year.
Yeah.
But I'm only mentioning that as a bit of a joke. But I think that a lot of the players afterwards are like coming into it, and it could well be because City themselves are an all-action team as well. Not quite Liverpool, but an all-action team. And that could be, they've had a couple of serious injuries as well, with Silva being out for a while,
and De Bruyne being out.
So they've had a bit of that. So I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I think it's 10 years or so, Eamon, since a team actually won consecutive Premier titles. But I think they'll come back. I don't think they'll catch Liverpool myself this season. I don't think they'll catch them. I think they'll come back. I think they'll come back.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I think, because we had a robust conversation yesterday. I think Guardiola is the one-trick pony, and I'll tell you why. I look at their back four for yesterday's game at Southampton. Danilo is playing right back. He's a very, very average, to put it at his highest, Spanish right back. Vincent Kompany back in. We know he's a very good player. Laporte can't get in the French team, but he's okay. Cost a lot of money. And Zinchenko, who's a converted midfield player, that's their back four. Now, you match that up against the Liverpool back four. And
but they've had a few injuries there as well.
I'll tell you who's...
Walker hasn't been in the team.
I'll tell you who's in. Walker isn't injured. Walker came on as a sub yesterday.
Yeah.
And also Fabian Delph was suspended for a red card at Leicester. Now, Fabian Delph would have played perhaps instead of Zinchenko, the Ukrainian, but Fabian Delph himself is a converted midfield player. And I think one of the things you hit on there, I think they've lost their intensity a bit, John. They were pressurising teams. Now, the popular view over the last 3 or 4 weeks is when Fernandinho was injured, that he was the man that they missed. And Guardiola himself said at his press conference on Friday, I saw it, he said, I think he's a key player for us, a very important player. John, I don't think Fernandinho would be an important player in a really top side.
I think he's been an important player for them in the position that he plays. He's the only one doing what he did. He wouldn't be my favourite player, but I think he does a good job for them doing what he's doing. I think he's the best he's got in that particular position, which they call a holding midfield player now. I think I think that's a bit unfair. Fernandinho, and you're talking about the popular view. Who's the popular view?
The popular view is all over the papers in the last few days.
Yeah, well,
Fernandinho is the key man.
Yeah, well, that's that. You've never agreed with that.
No, I don't.
You're talking about the popular view. I mean, popular view doesn't mean anything. It's popular view a few weeks ago that Manchester City were going to walk away with the league.
It wasn't my view.
That was a popular view. Now, I'm a Guardiola fan, as you know, but I never said that they'd walk away with the league. And more importantly, Guardiola a few weeks ago said, look, people can say what they like. I don't believe that. He never believed that.
All right, let me take you back.
That's journalists and people getting carried away. Up last week, Pochettino was a hero. They were going to do this, that, and the other. They got beaten on Saturday, and all of a sudden, he's a bum.
Okay.
Not quit.
Against Crystal Palace, when Fernandinho was injured and missing for the first time, Guardiola decided he'd play John Stones.
Yeah.
In midfield, as a holding midfield player. It was a crazy decision. Stones isn't a particularly mobile central defender. He labours a bit. Absolutely no way he could play as a holding midfield player. That plan was abandoned when they played Leicester. Stones went back into the back four. But I wonder... after he's been there now for 2.5 years, Guardiola. How come he hasn't got a back four?
Well, how come last year, Eamon, he didn't have a back four, and he got 100 points, won the league by a record number of points, conceded only the second lead, highest goal scoring in the league. That's what he did last year.
Right.
I mean, that's and won the League Cup as well. So he's not having a good time now. You can't go he's done great last year, he's done that, and then you have a bad couple of weeks, and it has been a bad couple of weeks for him, where it's all bad. You can't go that long winning trophies, and then get a bad turn. Like Pochettino last week. Pochettino was a hero. He has a bad defeat, and he's down. That's the way it is. But he never got carried away, Guardiola himself. He said, no, it's a long haul. So that's what he does. Liverpool could have a bit of a blip by the end of the season in a week, Eamon.
Yeah, no,
but
absolutely.
It doesn't go all wrong. It doesn't go all wrong and bad because you have a few bad results.
So, the question I asked you, I'll try again.
Yeah.
He's been there 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. The first season was the first time he never won a trophy. He's had unlimited funds to spend, and he has Danilo, Otamendi, Laporte, Zinchenko, who's a converted midfield player playing left back, and he has another converted midfield player from where he used to play at Aston Villa playing left back as well. When is he going to get a defender, John? He paid over 50 million.
I mean, you're going in the last few weeks. What did he do last year? He won 2 trophies. He won the league and he won the League Cup. Yep. Now you're going about Club. Club has done a very, very good job, and he's been there longer than Guardiola. He hasn't won anything yet, Eamon.
No,
he hasn't won anything yet. If with all these faults and all you're saying with Guardiola, how did he win the trophies? How did he win the trophies last year? How did he do it? He didn't have any better defenders last year. He didn't have a different team.
Well, if you want me to give you the answer, here it is. Liverpool's problems had not been addressed until the last transfer window. When they got Van Dijk, Alisson, and Gomez came back, they got Lovren out of the team. They got Karius, the goalkeeper, and Mingale out of the team. So Liverpool couldn't have contended because they hadn't addressed their problems. Okay,
well, that's their fault, isn't it?
No, but you asked me how did they win the league by such a distance.
We're not talking about Liverpool. I'm talking about Manchester City. Yeah. Manchester City won the league with a record number of points.
Yeah. And you asked me how. You asked me how they did it.
That's what they did it last year.
Yeah, you asked me.
They did it with virtually the same players that they've got this year.
Did you ask me how they did it?
What do you mean how they did it?
You asked me how they did it.
How does it matter? Go on, well, how did they do it?
Well, I'll tell you how they did it. The others, Chelsea had imploded. Manchester United had the Mourinho problem. And the other contenders never showed up, John. That's how they did it.
So they did. No credit to them at all.
Yes, there is credit. I'm not saying that, and there is.
Well, you are saying that, actually. I mean,
no.
What you're saying is that last year, all the other teams were rubbish, so Manchester City won it because they were all rubbish.
No, I didn't use the word rubbish.
Well, not competing.
I said they didn't have the means to... Okay, I go back to the original idea, shall we say. It's not a question, it's a statement. It's amazing, John, to me, that after 2.5 years... Vincent Kompany apart, he doesn't really have one top-class defender. Would you agree with that statement or disagree with it?
Well, I think the defenders could be better. But the defenders were the same defenders last year when he did what he did. Now, this season, up to a few weeks ago, the popular opinion, as you would call it, had them walking away with the league.
Not my opinion, John.
No, exactly.
That's why we do the podcast.
Go back to the popular opinion. The popular opinion that it was that. Guardiola never said that.
What are you citing the popular opinion for? I mean, the thing is, we do a podcast.
You're citing the popular opinion. You started with the popular opinion.
Yeah, because it's rubbish.
Of course it is.
Okay. We do the podcast so that we can ask these questions. And you are free to ask of me the same question. What I say to you is, it's quite extraordinary that Guardiola, with unlimited money to spend, and we know that we don't know about Klopp, he makes the calls, doesn't he? He makes the calls about who they're bringing in and how much they have to pay. For example, he bought Mahrez in the summer for 60 million from Leicester. With a lot of money to pay for Mahrez, he didn't really need a left winger. But what he did need is a very good defender, which he might have got if he'd have gone for Van Dijk.